episode 401 of Global from Asia podcast, video and audio. We got a fun one today, PPC growth, talking to some experts, and it's an interesting one because we're thinking about it as an owner, as a business owner, as a manager, with the team, with the agency. Let's tune in today. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight up actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you so much. I'm getting great feedback. I started this show as audio. I was so scared to even be having my voice recorded in October 2013. We're getting close to 10 years, over 400 shows. It's a little windy outside, but it's an excuse to get out of the studio, home studio. And we usually come here to feed the fish down here. They're pretty big fish, I can buy some food over there and feed them. So sometimes I take the kids here. Today we got a fun one. As always, I'm getting, people are enjoying these shows, over 400. We recorded other ones for the future just recently, and we're trying, I'm learning together with you, and we're always learning. Today we have Leslie Chong and Daniel from Scale Insights. They're Singaporean sellers and entrepreneurs that are talking to us about, PPC and AI. Originally they were going to do screen share, but I said, well, the podcast interviews don't really have screen share, so we're going to do a webinar. There's going to be a link on the show notes to register for free. We're going to have some giveaways for Cross-Border Summit tickets, also some giveaways for what they have. You can register for that. It'll be Thursday, June 15th, 8 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong, Philippines time, GMT +8. Hopefully that works for you. But let's tune into the show. We talk high level, managing your PPC campaign for Amazon, KPIs, working with your own team, with agencies, really fun insights. Let's tune in. All right, we have Tommy, the sales manager at Cross-Better Logistics. How are you, Tommy?
Hi, everyone.
We just got to meet here in Shenzhen, China. It's great. They support the show at Global from Asia, and we also use them ourselves for many of our brands and e-commerce businesses. And Tommy really cares. They always are trying to help us save money. You have some products you keep for us in China. You have some products you keep for us in the US warehouse, and I really appreciate that. And you can talk to this seller, right? You can give them your advice. You work with many Chinese sellers a lot, right? And you can help the sellers understand more.
Yeah, we are very professional for the shipment to USA and Canada. Also, we have warehouse in USA and Canada. We can help our factories, suppliers, sellers for the shipment.
Yes.
Yeah, for the e-commerce business.
Yep, and you even keep stuff in China too. So sometimes if you have the limitations of sending too much to Amazon, you can keep it here in China with Cross-Better, or you can send, of course, to the US warehouse. They have many different options, and they're always trying their best to find out what's the best solution for you. So definitely talk to Tommy, talk to Cross-Better, and thank you for your support of the community.
Yes, we have good pricing and better service.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you all for tuning into our Global from Asia podcast. Past the 400 shows mark. It started in 2013. This is a good one. It's been on the list for a long time. I mean, I've known Leslie and Daniel for quite some time in the community, from the events and different things we're doing. So we're in for a treat. We have Leslie and Daniel down in Singapore doing great things with software and selling and community building. So thanks so much for being here. How are you doing today?
Hey, Mike, good to be here.
Hi.
Thanks for inviting us onto your podcast. Right, it's been you've known you for a long time. Right, all the events that you've been organizing been really great. Really enjoyed it, and now really glad that I'm able to hop onto your podcast here.
Yeah, and then
thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. Also, we're going to be working together closely for this next cross-border summit. It's still quite a ways away in November, but we're already planning it. And even here in April and May, it'll be moving the first time out of China to Thailand here.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I think it's a great.
It's the first time, right? Out of China.
Yeah, first time out of China and the first one since 2019. So
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did 4 in China up until coronavirus, and now people have been asking for it, but of course it wasn't so stable last year to really put together an event, in my opinion. So we are finally getting it together for this
Yeah.
November 2023. So excited to
Amazing,
work
amazing.
with you guys on it.
Same here, same here. Yeah.
I still remember the two that we attended in, I think, 2017 and 2018.
Yep.
It was in Shenzhen, Nanshan area. That, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really memorable, you know. We have just started out in FBA, selling on FBA, and yeah, that inspired us a lot.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember,
Yeah.
it's an experience. Events are an experience, and we really try hard to make it where we really get to know people at the event and engaging and interaction and networking.
Right,
So
right.
it's a real pleasure, and I can't wait, to do it again and have you involved this time. So maybe for those not familiar with what you guys are up to, maybe you share a little bit about yourselves. You want to start, maybe Leslie first?
Sure.
Sure.
Leslie, you want to introduce yourself first? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm Leslie here. So pleased to meet everyone. So like what Mike mentioned about cross-border, I started being a seller in 2016 and attended like Mike's seminar like in 2017, 2018. That really inspired me a lot and inspired me to do bigger in my business, in my e-commerce business, and really grind very hard in my e-commerce business and subsequently exited the business in 2021 for around 7 figures. So right now, me and Daniel, we are focusing a lot on our software, Skill Insights, which is a PPC software, PPC automation software for e-commerce sellers. Yeah, because e-commerce is something that we know a lot about, understand about a lot. So we felt that this is an audience that we could really serve very, very well at solving all the pain points of e-commerce sellers.
Great. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been great. While we haven't seen each other in a while with the COVID and everything, I've been following your updates, and yeah, again, congrats on the exit and the software. We did get the pleasure to meet quickly in Singapore when I was there in March, and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that was nice. And even people that didn't know us knew your software. There was some people at the dinner that knew your software and what you guys are up to. So that's really
Right.
amazing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was quite a good dinner organized by Amazon. We couldn't
yeah,
refuse something
Yeah.
from Amazon, right?
the
Yeah,
crab,
so it
the
was a good
Singapore
one.
crab,
The
yeah,
crab and stuff. Yeah, the chili crab.
chili
Yeah.
crab. That's it.
And, and maybe for Daniel to introduce about
Yeah,
himself as well.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my journey is pretty much in parallel with Leslie, right? So we've been partners since 2016, right? Okay, so I was just kind of like counting down, since preparing for this podcast is like close to 7 years by this June.
Amazing.
We've been, for 7 years really, right? Okay, it's kind of like feels like yesterday, but it's kind of been quite a long time already. Yeah, but we're doing well, right? We're doing well as partners. Really enjoy Leslie's can-do spirit, right? Everything also can, right?
Yeah,
And never say die, right? Okay, so
very positive
yeah,
guy. Yeah.
very positive, right? So on that note, right? So I'm now the head of seller engagement over at Skill Insights. I do mainly engaging with brand owners, aggregators, agencies, right? Kind of like getting them on board on the software, right? Getting them to understand what are the features that we can do. So just a quick overview of what the software does, right? So Skill Insights empowers brand owners to not only uncover but also automate actionable insights, allowing them to take their PPC game to the next level. So that is kind of our core mission when it comes to PPC, right? Okay, so kind of like talking about 2016 to now, it's been 7 years, right? A lot of things have changed in the Amazon space, right? Okay, but the core basics have not really changed, right? Okay, the core basics of having a great product, having a great supply chain, and really, really understanding and optimizing your PPC. These three things have not gone away, right? Okay, so that's why we are very bullish, right, on the entire paid advertising, okay, Amazon sponsored brands, sponsored products, sponsored display, that the entire space. That's why, after we exited our brand, we kind of went full steam, right? Okay, we went all in, okay, on this space, and that is where we see things are going to be moving a lot in this space in the coming years.
It's definitely exciting. I mean, also, I think you being in the Singapore community, I think you're very early for Singapore. I was talking to Amazon Singapore. I don't think they had an office there or anybody there when you were
right, yeah.
starting. And now they're having meetups and everything, and they have like offices. So
yeah,
you're pioneers,
right,
for sure. That's great.
Yeah, I guess one thing that for sure, like the Amazon ecosystem is growing more than ever. So this is one thing that we are very bullish about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just continues to dominate. I don't have the data, but I feel at least in the US, half of the market is Amazon or something like, probably more.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
sorry, my team working on new products right now in the other room. Actually,
Cool. Yeah,
okay.
I guess like PPC advertising is one thing for sure that it seems to be growing the most, especially since 2016 when we are in the space where Amazon has cut down on everything, incentivized reviews, all sorts of things. Then they become stricter in that sense,
Yeah.
and they become even all the more embedding sellers and stuff. But PPC advertising is one thing that we see that would grow continuously. As you can see, the space, there's more and more space being allocated for advertising, right? So, and we do see like it impacting the ranking even more than ever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also any kind of marketplace or platform as it grows, it's more pay to play, right? You kind of, whether it's Google, Amazon, Taobao, anywhere in the world, any platform, Lazada, they know that you need to get your skills as paid ads. You have to, but it's also scalable, just like your name. If you can get good at your PPC and scale it, there's like no limit almost to what you can do with that. So it's measurable, semi-predictable. So it's very important skill, and yeah, for sure it's an important part of being a seller more than ever. And that's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yeah.
We have a little bit of an outline of some kind of a little bit of a short list, but it's more like freestyle, just sharing some tips and strategies about PPC, automation, best practices. So I'm excited for this myself as a seller, and I'm sure listeners will get a lot of value out of today's session. I guess the most first one, I mean, we were already kind of talking about it, but just to kind of put it out there, as a 7-figure seller, 8-figure seller, even this new seller, well, I guess it's a good point. What level seller should do PPC themselves versus hiring or automating or outsourcing? Is there some kind of stage where maybe even I met some people at the Canton Fair, I think, they're new, even Singapore seller, brand new seller. I don't think he should maybe use automation or outsourcing yet. Maybe you can give us the life cycle about size of the seller and what stage they should consider, hiring and automating?
Yeah, for sure. Right. Okay. So as part of my day-to-day job, right, I get to speak to, brand owners of different sizes, different scales and whatnot, right? And I wouldn't say that it is the size of the business that really makes the huge decision factor, but I would say it's more of the individual brand owner. Okay, what does the individual brand owner love to do, right? So do what you're best at, and things that you're perhaps not so strong in, right? Okay, that's where you can hire somebody, get an agency, right? Okay, or get somebody in-house, right? Okay, so let's say you're really like a product person. You have a very strong product vision. You really know your customer avatar, right? That's where you want to plow all your energy in. Then perhaps like something like PPC, which is more analytical, more data, more numbers driven, right? Okay, maybe that's not your forte. Then maybe you want to get like help, right? Okay, be it in-house, be it agency, right? And of course, right, tap on technology, like solutions out there, right, to kind of like add on, right, to the things that you're not perhaps so strong in, right? Okay, so that's kind of like my intuition when I'm speaking to a lot of brand owners, right? It really depends on what they want. Because I've spoken to like 8-figure brand owners, and they kind of tell me, hey, I have no ideas about PPC. I'm just here to make sure that, right, okay, the software is robust, right? Just to hear from the founders, and then I'm just going to pass this on to, right, somebody in-house to take over. I just want to be sure that I'm talking to real people, right, that's got a good solution, they got a good mind on top of their head, right, okay, to kind of like work the solution with my team. So I've seen all sorts, right? Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I have to admit, I don't know if I want to call myself, I don't usually do PPC in the brands I've done.
Mhm.
I don't know how much I want to expose myself, but yeah, I'm not the data, I'm not the data guy on the teams usually.
But yeah.
I'm the creative, or like I got more the
Right.
concept or customer side.
But on that note, right, there's an important caveat to what I just mentioned, that you may not necessarily be the one crunching the numbers, making the adjustment, making the optimization. But one thing as a brand owner that you cannot let go, right, okay, is the tracking of the key metrics, right? Okay, so knowing, okay, on a week-on-week basis, month-on-month basis, right, how the entire account is doing, right? Okay, so that's this one level.
Yeah.
And how individual products are doing, that's another level. And how individual hero keywords within that portfolio products are doing. So that is a piece of the puzzle that as a brand owner, you must not let go. So that is a feature that we have within Scale Insights called the sales trend, right? That allows you to see at a glance, right? Okay, week on week across multiple metrics, right? A cost, TAR cost, right? Okay, organic sales, right? Okay, PPC cost, profitability, right? All the key metrics, right, can be tracked. So that is the caveat that I have, right? So that's something that you got to hold on to, while you then get, okay, perhaps in your context, right? You're more the creative side, get the numbers guys to do their thing, and then, okay, both of you sit down together and say, hey, we were supposed to run this optimization. For example, you were looking to reduce unnecessary ad spend. So if that was the objective, then you want to see your PPC cost kind of trend down, right? So the sales trend module would allow you to see that, okay, week on week, then we can all agree objectively that the goals have been met, right? Okay, then you kind of have a mini celebration. But if the goals have not been met, then we can kind of evaluate, what's going on, right? Are there certain keywords that were missed out, right? Okay, are there certain activities that were not done to, right, the ideal state, right? Okay, so that's kind of how I think I'll view it, right? Okay, from that question about, okay, should I hire somebody in-house, right? Okay, agency, or do it myself, right? Okay, so the trend analysis is key, right? That cannot be outsourced, right, per se.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just to add on a bit, we do see people like coming in with in-house, be it, or even some brand owners, like they take it upon themselves to kind of manage their PPC. So there's different combination. It really depends on like what the brand owners feel like taking on.
Yeah.
So they can even work with agency to do it. So for us, we take the position in the market of giving a lot of control to the seller. Giving control would mean that they would have more things to do. It's not as simple as setting the A cost and that's it, and you don't know about like what the software is doing.
Yeah.
We are also a lot about transparency as well. So every single action that the software is doing for the automation, the one that's managing it will be able to see each and every single action the software is doing. So our software is a lot about control and transparency, and not so much of letting go and let the machine run wild. That's not the position that we are taking here.
Got
We do see a lot of traction coming on, especially after COVID, where it seems that the margin for a lot of sellers and a lot of accounts, they are tightening, and people just want to understand what the machine is doing and want to have a lot of control so as to gain back the margin that they were seeing before COVID.
Yeah, I would agree with that. That's definitely something it's the way I also structure. I have a few brands where I have like partners or investors, and then a lot of our team is doing it. It's kind of how I've been structuring the last few years, some of these brands. And then, like I mentioned before recording, I think listeners know, but Excalibur Brothers is kind of latest case study public brand. It's really live, which is always scary to talk about publicly. but yeah, I mean, everything is always
You
everything's.
are doing a case study.
It's not such a
You are
public.
doing a case study on that.
I'm not really doing a like case study where I report everything publicly, but of course, throughout the shows and the content, we're sharing some milestones. But it's also where we have a few different people in the community as sellers. So we use Mayor's system, which is licensing. So there's other sellers selling the product under our brand through their account. So I don't know if you understand what I mean, but say you so it's not all one account. It's like different, and they're not just, I'm not the account. There are other people, and they take that listing, and it's like approved hijacking.
Right. Yeah.
It's like we create the listing and they sell on the listing as their seller account.
Right. Yeah.
So
That's very innovative. Yeah.
Oh, what was that part? Sorry.
That's very innovative, as in like it's a really innovative system that I heard of, like this kind of licensing or getting people, creating a listing and kind of official hijacking and stuff.
Yeah. It's a very interactive one. So we've been managing a few of these sellers under it, but yeah, let's kind of following up with what you had just said, Leslie, about automation and automatic. There's a lot of different tools, whether it's PPC or anything, especially AI now, that say they can do every automatic stock trading, FX trading, PPC bidding. What's your take on, automation or AI versus, human?
The best analogy that I have for this question would be kind of like, we've all been on a plane before, right? Okay, would you ever hop onto a plane and then you see kind of the captain waving, "Hey guys, have a safe trip," right? The plane will autopilot you to the other end, right? Nobody get on the plane, right? Or in fact, everybody get off, right? Okay, so that's kind of like my little analogy on the hybrid nature of how things are, right? Okay, so I don't know exactly how much of the flight is on autopilot, right? But from what I understand, is like mainly it's the takeoff and the landing, right? Then the rest of it's kind of on cruise control. So similar idea, right? Okay, so during like the launch, right, you must be really hands-on, right? Okay, and then when it's on cruise control, that's when things are automated, right? Okay, the rules kick in based on certain conditions, based on certain criteria to adjust your bids, do negation, do day parting, do budgeting, do placements, all these kind of bells and whistles, right? So all the software would kind of like adjust all these things, right? Okay, so the other analogy that I have was, if I remember the story correctly, is that, okay, if you let the plane go on its own, and if you don't course correct it, right, just like a small degree just a small degree, you end up like on the other side of the world, right? Okay, so that's the same idea, right? Okay, so everything's on autopilot, right? You kind of like go in, you check the parameters, make sure things are moving in the right direction, and if things are moving in the right direction, then don't go touch it, right? Okay, so that's kind of like how I would say, if people do have a certain conception of on what automation is like or what AI is like, right? So just think of yourself as the pilot. You are piloting this huge, powerful 747, right? Okay, airplane. Right. Okay. You will want the app, the AI or the software, the automation take care of a lot of things, but you still want to maintain that control, which is kind of like what Leslie mentioned. You want to maintain control where this plane is exactly going. That's really important, right? Knowing where you are right now and what's the destination, and making sure that the metrics match the destination so that everybody can arrive there safely, happily, right? Okay, and make a ton of money. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Sorry.
I heard you. What were you saying?
Oh, yeah. No, I was just that's all I wanted to share, right? In terms of,
Oh, I thought you said mic, like microphone. Yeah, I'm like, sorry, I lost that last part.
Right.
But that's a good point about the autopilot of a plane and no pilot, and even, I mean, and then of course, if one little degree off.
Yeah.
That does make sense. And, so a lot of people thought, like, Mike, are you going to fire half your team with AI, maybe, etc. I think we just need, what you need more is more skilled people, less new beginner people, right? Like with
Right.
AI and software, you need somebody that really knows the numbers to
Correct.
to adjust correctly,
Yeah.
have the highest impact.
Correct.
So the
In
person,
fact, I heard this saying, right? This is not my saying, but I heard the saying is that, okay, you won't be replaced by AI, but you'll be replaced by a person who knows how to do AI, who knows how to use AI to do your job much better. So this kind of like the saying that I heard out there. Yeah. So it's not the AI that's the problem, it's the person who's going to outcompete you, right? Using the AI. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of like how the space that we play in as well, right? Okay. So for us, like what Leslie mentioned, okay, we are not a set and forget full AI software. Okay, we are rule-based software. So you kind of like set up your goals, right? Set up your rules, okay, and then you then have somebody to make sure that the metrics are performing in the right direction, right? Organic sales are going up, profitability is going up, right? Okay, so that is still very much needed when it comes to automation.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So back, to impact, what's some of the best practices? Is it number of keywords in the ad groups and versus campaigns or negative keywords? Or
Yeah.
can you give us some
Sure,
insight?
sure. Okay, so one very interesting thing that I found, again, based on my day-to-day activities, speaking to brand owners, right, okay, agencies, aggregators, right, is that the first thing that they hop on the call, they say, "Hey, Daniel, can you tell me, right, what I should do to get the most impact using your software?" And I said, "Hey, wait a second over here. Wait a second over here, right? We're not like a magic pill, right? You're not a silver bullet for everything, right? We kind of need to know what the goals that you have right now, or what are the problems that you have right now when it comes to your business. There's no way for me to be knowing your business, the details inside out, okay, the minute we hop on the call. This is just impossible. So I would say the number one best practice, okay, in fact, that surprises me as well when I talk to so many brand owners, is that you would want to know what are the problems that you're facing right now, right? Only when there's a problem, only when you're clear there's a problem, then we can implement effective solutions to tackle that, right? So let me give you like broad ideas on what I would classify as a problem. So you will want to know, okay, at the individual product level, okay, I would say there are two main phases, and the first phase is, do you have a ton of what I call unnecessary ad spend? So that's the first question, right? Are you having a lot of keywords that is costing you a lot of clicks and don't give you any orders, right? Okay, and surprisingly enough, many people don't really know the answer, right? Okay, so it's a question that you need to ask, right? Are there certain hours of the day that you're spending a lot of ad spend that perhaps you're not getting that much sales, right? So are there, right, certain keyword bids that are you overbidding, right? Are you overbidding on certain keywords that aren't converting well, but you're still continuing to be really, really aggressive on those keywords, right? Just by answering these three questions, right, okay, you would then be able to, okay, reduce a lot of unnecessary ad spend in your account. Okay, and that is really important, right? That's really important because I always say that nobody has unlimited budget, right? Okay, nobody has an unlimited war chest when it comes to advertising. And everybody would feel the pain, okay, of rising PPC costs, right? So it's going to be very tough to scale things if you are kind of like bleeding every single day. Okay, so to address the issue, okay, you first need to address the unnecessary ad spend problem first. And that will allow you to reduce your PPC cost, which will then give you, right, okay, budget, right, okay, ammo, war chest to scale up, okay, all those high performing keywords. So that will be kind of like my two-step process, right? Okay, identify, okay, in your portfolio of products, right, okay, the 80-20 rule, right? Okay, what is that 20% of your products that's giving you the most problem when it comes to unnecessary ad spend? Go deal with that first. Then you should start to see your PPC costs start to moderate down. Okay, which also would imply that your A cost starts to moderate down. So A cost is like kind of like the quote unquote holy grail number, right? Okay, that everybody cares about. Although, like I mentioned earlier on, looking at one metric is not enough, right? But that's kind of like what's going to happen, right? PPC costs go down, A cost starts to go down, and then okay, you feel a little bit more relaxed, right? Okay,
Yeah.
as a business, you feel more relaxed and say, hey, you know, I'm now ready, okay, to identify those keywords that are performing well. What I like to call the low-hanging fruit keywords, right? The multiple orders, high conversion, low A cost, right? Again, 80-20 rule, right? Target this 20% of what we call low-hanging fruit keywords, right? Take that budget that you saved and then push it to these high converting keywords, which would then, right, okay, the end result should be an increase in your organic sales as you're pushing high velocity, high converting keywords. Your organic rankings will go up, organic sales will go up, right? Okay, which would then, right, also potentially mean that your overall profitability will go up, right? So that's kind of like the framework that I use, right, to discuss with the people that I engage with, right? Reduce unnecessary ad spend, take the savings in the budget, right? Okay, channel them to your high performing keywords, and then, right, okay, track the organic sales, track the increase in profitability to make sure that everything's moving in the right direction. So that will be, right, I would say, my number one best practice suggestion when people are looking at to optimize their PPC.
That's great. I mean, I love your feedback on, so we have these internal calls so I have a person on a team internal helping with the PPC.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have another, like one of our brands will have a call with the partner there, and he, you know, there's this argument about us versus tacos.
Mm-hmm.
The one side, usually the PPC guy says, look at the tacos, not the ICOs. Because he's saying organic rank is tied to PPC. So if you do good PPC, your organic will increase, and those sales from organic should also be compensated back to the PPC of the campaign.
Yep. Sure.
So you're kind of agreeing with that? Because he's always defending that, because ACOS sometimes is higher, but then he's going back to point out tacos.
That I would pretty much agree with that, right? Because ACOS, to me, ACOS is just a way for you to, as a proxy, to say how aggressive you want to be on that keyword, right? Because bid is not so obvious, right? Because bid, you could have a high bid but low ACOS, right? So it's not so obvious, but ACOS directly tells you how aggressive you want to be on that keyword bid, because ACOS would also impact ACOS. You can kind of like proxy against your profit margin. So let's say the profit margin on your product is like 30%. If your ACOS is 40%, that will mean that you're pretty aggressive on that keyword. Yeah. Right. So ACOS is like a good way to say how much you want to push on that. Right. Okay. So I would say that is a sound way to look at it. Right. As long as the stats does show that this activity that you guys are running, okay, despite the fact that ACOS is going up, right, okay, the organic sales is also going up, then things are moving in the right direction. That's why we had to fall back onto the sales trend, right? The sales trend then objectively ends this debate, right? It's like, hey, right, okay, we're on this call on, let's say, the 1st of May, you know, and then we're going to have another call on the 1st of June to say, okay, right, you did these stuff, right? Okay, yeah, for sure, ACOS may be on upper trend, but my tacos has gone down, my organic sales has gone up, right? Okay, my profitability has gone up. Who's going to say no to that? Yeah, right? I'm going to take that every single day and twice on Sunday, right? Yeah, I mean that's kind of the main discussions on the calls. Correct. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I really wish that we can see this on a display or screen share something, because what Daniel shared about sales trend, right? The software really kind of like display graphically in terms of like week by week, or even kind of like 3 days by 3 days even, how the trend of certain metrics really changes on a kind of week to week basis and all those things. And the best thing is that when you have a tag, we are able to do this tag, for example, maybe increase the price by $2. And after increasing the price by $2, you know, typically people forget when they increase the price or make certain changes. And that's where the tag gets very useful in the sales trend, to kind of like remember and recall back, like, hey, I did this kind of like a month back, and right now a month later I'm seeing this result. Because most of the time I'm a seller, I don't do I don't make a notepad of the changes I made to the product itself. So yeah, sellers tend to forget about that, but the software allows us to do the tagging, and that's very helpful for me in terms as a seller as well. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just for listeners, I'll probably put in an intro of this recording of the date, but Daniel will do a webinar. So today's show is no screen sharing for Leslie and I was watching because, I talked to like Peter in Shanghai. I'm pretty sure he's listening to this, and
Yeah.
Cameron. I mean, I know some of the listeners by name. I don't think they watch the podcast. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a webinar where we can show the software, we can show the data, show the dashboards. We'll also have some giveaways. We can maybe give away 1 or 2 tickets to Cross Border Summit, maybe probably have some promotions for your software. So I think today's show is more just, hacks and strategies, but the webinar. So everybody interested in that webinar, we'll definitely check the show notes, and I'll say it in my intro. But we will have that where people can really see some cool things with the software and trends and things like that. So
Right. Sounds great.
stay tuned for that, everybody, for those
Okay.
listening. So best practices, I feel like you kind of covered it, but the 80%, I feel like you kind of just covered that within the best practices. Or is there something you want to add for the ad types?
No, I think that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered that.
Yeah.
And so benefits of software versus what I can't do on my own as a human, as a person.
Yeah, so the best way to give you an idea of how a software, right, really, really surpasses what the human can do. Okay, so I do have a user, right? Okay, so again, within our dashboard, there's kind of like a automation dashboard that allows you to see how many operations an account does, right? Okay, so we have one of our users who does over 2 million operations every single month.
Wow.
Right, 2 million. Right. Okay. So if one operation took you one second, 2 million operations would be 2 million seconds, right? So that's kind of like just somebody sitting there day in, day out, doing nothing but just clicking a button, and they'll probably take in the entire month, right? Okay. And that's excluding all the decision making.
Huh.
So that is the scale in which software can operate at. And another thing that I like to add on is this, right? Okay, that I think we can all agree that in the Amazon space, it's a player versus player game, right? Okay, so it's quote unquote winner takes a lot. I wouldn't say winner takes all because it's a huge marketplace, but the winner takes a lot. So I would even imagine that if, let's say today, okay, you are a brand owner, okay, and you were doing things manually, and you had another player out there who was doing like 2 million bit adjustments every single month.
Yeah.
Right. Just really dialing it down, right? Okay, adjusting it, the keywords that are converting well, just scaling them, those up. Keywords that are not converting well, just bringing down the TACoS, right? Negating keywords that are not performing, right? Turning on and off ads, right? Okay, when it's not happening, right? Adjusting the top of search, right? Making sure that I'm grabbing the most out of, right, my sales at the top of search, right? Imagine somebody doing that. And imagine yourself, right? Okay, you can probably only spend an hour a day, 2 hours a day max, right? Versus something that's operating, right, 24/7. Okay, so that's kind of like how I would think about this, right? Okay, when I'm asking myself this question, can I do this manually? For sure, right? But versus, okay, the other player out there who has this quote unquote unfair advantage.
Got it.
Right? Think about where you could be, okay, if you're able to get this solution implemented in your business.
That makes sense. So what, of course we can't see the software right now. We'll save it for the webinar, but for those, I don't know if you want to bring up other competitors by name, but maybe what will be some of the differences, scale insights from or others.
Sure. I think this is an important point to tackle, right? Because when it comes to PPC automation, right, there are 2 spectrums that you want to be really, really aware about. Okay, on one spectrum is the full AI set and forget solution, right? So you give it like a broad goal, like an ACoS target, okay, and the software will basically take care of everything for you, And it's not to say that that isn't a good solution. I've spoken to brand owners as well on the call. They do kind of like that because it's a very fast ramp up, which means that I could quickly get the AI to do a lot of stuff for me with very little kind of setup, right? So that's one spectrum of the solution. Whereas we sit on the other end of the spectrum. Okay, so we are rule based. Okay, we are user driven, right? Okay, so the user has to tell the software what are the rules they want to set up, what are the goals that they want to meet. So what is the difference between the two spectrum is one, okay, because it is more hands-free, hence you have a lot less control. And on the other hand, because it's very hands-on, hence you have a lot of control. And my take on it is this, right? Okay. I would say that the reason why people want to be a business owner, right? The reason why people want to be an entrepreneur many a times is that you want to take control of your own future, right? You want to take control over your own destiny. You want to take over control over, right, the profitability of the business, right? That's kind of like my take on where I fall on the spectrum, right? Okay, I want to say that, okay, win or lose, right? I was the one who made that decision, right? Okay, if I won, okay, I celebrate with my team, right? If I lose, right, then let me go figure out, iterate it, and make it work, right? So I kind of like want to have that ability to take control over my PPC cost, my PPC optimization, right? Okay, and just really scale it from there.
Makes sense.
Makes
sense.
I would like to add on something to Daniel as well. That being said, right, we do see people, after setting up the matrices or criteria of what they want, every week at most, they are logging in kind of like 4 to 5 hours per week to see how is their PPC doing. And that's a lot lesser than what they have been doing, much lesser compared to what they have been doing before, which they can be logging in, maybe optimizing that 4 to 5 hours per day and stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
I think let's see brought an important point, right? The important point over here is that with automation, you automate away all the boring stuff, or automate away all the, okay, is this keyword, should it go up bit or lower bit, right? Okay, this keyword be negated or not negated. So all these boring stuff, right? All these routine stuff are automated away so that we can then focus, right, on the more value adding work, right? On the more value adding decision, right? Okay. So I can kind of like, be aware that, hey, has the market shifted against my brand? Right? Okay. Is the season over? Right? Or are competitors just like flooding in? Right? Or is that like a sudden drop in price? And then I need to make an adjustment, right? So these are really core brand decisions, business owner decisions. Or the flip side, hey, I just noticed that there's this search in a particular keyword that is untapped. I can then kind of like quickly pivot, okay, and launch more campaigns towards those keywords. Or I notice that my competitors are out of stock, right? Okay, or I notice that my competitors' ratings have dropped, right? Okay, so you can focus your attention on all these decision making, right? Okay, and then let the AI software take care of the more computational, right? Okay, routine stuff.
And then maybe I'll say it. There's another saying: working on your business, not in your business.
Yeah, exactly.
That's another way. Yeah, which
correct.
Simple way, but be more strategic.
That is a
right?
really elegant way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah. And to add on Daniel's point previously, right? Like the 2 million operations, right? I guess if it's human were to do it, right? It's a lot of decision to make. And I think like what a lot of business owners want to do, or a lot of entrepreneurs want to do is to minimize their decision fatigue,
Yep.
right? Even like wearing the same shirt every day, just minimize that decision fatigue and you can leave that mental space for a lot more things in life.
Agree. I have a kind of my uniform now. I don't know. But they say, like, I think it was Tim Ferriss says, decision fatigue. Like your brain can't make so many decisions all day, right? So
correct.
Even choosing what to wear in the morning takes that creative energy. So you can take that energy and focus on something very challenging or impactful. Which is awesome. getting towards the end. I really appreciate your time. I think we're getting to the wrap up, and then we'll also we'll pick a date, and I'll put the date for the webinar after this for people to join. But as far as some choices for Scale Insights, does it have to do the entire account, or can you just do a couple of ASINs for test, and or what are some of your options when using it?
Yeah, in fact, I do get this question a lot, right? Because, many a times, I'll say at least a good half of the people coming on the Scale Insights are moving out from some existing solution, right? Okay, so here's where I'll tell them, right? The good thing about Scale Insights is that it's campaign agnostic, right? So there's some solutions out there which require you to have a certain campaign structure before the software can work. So for us, it's a campaign agnostic, right? Okay, so which means that we will be able from day one, okay, to go in and see all your existing data up to the last 60 days, right? Because that's the limit, right? Okay, when you first onboard, I can only pull the last 60 days, and then from there I can accumulate the rest, right? But from day one, okay, I'll download the data on your account, right? Okay, we're able to process the historical performance, right? And start to plot all the charts for you, right? Okay, and then from there, okay, you can then decide, okay, which is that 20% of the ASINs that I really, really want to do work on. And you can just take and run the automation for just that, let's say 5 ASINs. That's totally fine. Okay, so we are priced not based on how big your account is, right? Okay, or how many ASINs that you have, right? We are priced based on how many ASINs that you actually want to automate. And in fact, this pricing model is very, very well received, okay, by our users. They love the fact that I'm not priced based on the size of my account, but sometimes that's kind of like an unnecessary tax, right? So suddenly, if let's say I grow and then my software cost balloons, right? People don't like the uncertainty, right? Again, control. People want control. So they say, okay, hey, if I'm going to use your software for 5 ASINs, I pay for 5 ASINs, I can live with that, right? Okay, and then if I want to go 10 ASINs, I pay for 10 ASINs, I can live with that, right? So that's kind of like the pricing model that we have, and it's kind of a long-winded way to say that yes, right? You can just test it for 1 ASIN, 2 ASINs, or 5 ASINs right in your account.
Yeah, I like that model. Because some people might have a product they like to focus on more, or it's more valuable to them.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's a contrarian approach that we take initially in the market, because in the mainstream, a lot of automation software, they go by maybe a percentage of ad spend, and that didn't allow for a lot of flexibility. We wanted to have that flexibility, kind of being available to especially like people getting on new sellers, or even experienced seller, right? 8-figure sellers, where they want to try the software, where they want to have a few ASINs being automated and maybe not all ASIN automated. And our pricing model kind of allow for that. Yeah.
Okay. I like it. So I think we're wrapping up. But we'll mention the webinar where we can share screens and give some more value. This has been already very helpful. Thank you both for your insights and knowledge. Of course, it's scaleinsights.com. Is there other links or places to send people?
I think that's the best place to
I think
send
that's the
people.
best, right?
Yeah, right.
And then we'll also link to the webinar registration to do it, and there'll be some fun interactive giveaways and things we can do live. So anything else you'd like to add? I guess also the cross-border summit we're going to do together, which will be amazing, in November 16th and 17th here in Chiang Mai. crossbordersummit.com.
Yeah.
Actually, we have people we haven't opened up tickets yet. We got people asking, like some of the regulars and listeners, but yeah, we are super excited for that, and super excited to have you involved this time even more.
We can't wait. I can't wait to join the summit again.
Yeah.
It has been so long. Yeah, like the pandemic has been 3 years, and all this physical meetup were being paused and stopped. Yeah, I'm dying to get back today. The physical meetups again.
I know. It's I think everybody's just we just got to make up. It's gonna be even more impactful, even more powerful. So we're gonna have it. Find some cool after party stuff too now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we just came back from a recent trip in Vegas, like where from a seller kind of conference, Yes Inspire and the Prosper show.
Great.
And coming back from that, I felt that that was something kind of like missing in Asia, especially, where people can magical stuff happen, right? When people meet together, especially entrepreneurs meet together, that's what just happened, you know. I
Yeah,
felt that this is something that we need more of in this region
Mhm.
here. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree. I
you
agree.
feel a great gap, right? Because otherwise, we had to fly all the way to the US, right? Okay, so having in Asia really fills that gap, right? Because there are a ton of people like in I know of users in Bali. There's this whole e-commerce community in Bali. Singapore,
Yeah,
there's a ton of people, right? Yeah.
agreed.
Chiang Mai, there's ton of
Yeah.
people as well, right?
Yeah, they're all over. I mean, it seems like the US opened up a little bit more, especially compared to China, but even Southeast Asia, think was a little bit slower than the US to open up. I
Mhm.
think that's maybe
Mhm.
one reason that the US has had more events sooner, in my opinion, I
Sure.
guess. But I think like
Yeah.
Asia is, I was just at Canton Fair. Finally, the border reopened in March and the fair happened. And I think it's starting to warm up because we also want to invite the Chinese sellers. I
Mhm.
was talking to some of the seller community in China to come to Thailand. They're excited to come. So
Right, right.
we also kind of delayed doing the summit because we thought it would be nice to always try to invite and welcome and have some Chinese seller community involved
Sure.
as well with the event. So there will be some great sellers there coming,
All right.
which would be awesome.
Yeah, it's a great thing. I mean, especially, we are in this part of the world where we can get to learn stuff from US side of things and the Asia side of things, and where things meets in between, right? I think
Ex-
that's where idea sparks and all this
Exactly.
innovation comes happening. Yeah,
Exactly. That's my favorite too, to put the bridge and the gap and find those value. That's
yeah.
fun.
And I guess like the name suggests, right, Cross-Border Summit aims to become that bridge
It
that,
does.
that
It does.
delivers the value to both sides of the world.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of business friends and even marriages have happened from the cross-border summit. It's been doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure everybody's excited. All right, I guess that's a wrap for today. I really had fun. Thank you both for
Same
coming
here.
on,
Same here. Yeah.
sharing, and
Once
then
again, right. Thanks for having
Yeah.
us. Yeah. Appreciate it.
thanks and
Thanks for
everybody stay
having
tuned for the
us.
webinar.
Yeah.
And thank you to our sponsor, our returning sponsor, Mercury.com, online bank. Well, it's a real bank, but you can do it totally online for US. Our Blimp program participants are going through this as well. Thank you, Mercury. Travis is great there. He's been on our show. He's been in our events. We're going to have another event where we will have them attending as well. And if you want to get a little bonus for you and us, if you sign up and do some special circumstances, you can go to globalfromasia.com/Mercury. I also have a video tutorial that we use even for the Blimp people. I use the same exact video to learn how to use it. I hope you can check it out. Totally free. Why not? See you there. I don't know if you can see those fish, but they're waiting. They're waiting for me to feed them. Anyway, I'm going to go take my walk back. But thank you so much, Leslie and Daniel. They've been really supportive of the community over the years, pre-COVID, with Cross-Border Summit coming out to China, also workshops and other things. So I'm really excited. They're going to be working closer with us at the Cross-Border Summit this year, happening November 16th and 17th, 2023. crossbordersummit.com. It's going to be amazing. Honestly, it's overwhelming response. So, birds and fish over here. But the next step for you is join our free webinar. We're going to have some giveaways, 2 Cross-Border Summit general entry tickets for some lucky people that come, as well as some other fun stuff and giveaways. Find the show notes on globalfromasia.com/ppc-growth, and we'd love to have you there. Find the register link on the show notes for this podcast, and you can ask us questions live. Yeah, we'll probably have a recording for a while, but live is more fun, Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day. Episode 401 over and out. See you later. Bye-bye.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.